The world is crazy about one of the most top-rated consumer brands of the century and is busy shopping the iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max. At the same time, the visuals from the world's largest iPhone producing factory in the Zhengzhou province of China is really disturbing. Let's try to decode what happened. The visuals in media were really disturbing, where we saw hundreds of workers protesting and clashing with police. Their dissent was over their unpaid salaries and harsh working conditions. Undoubtedly, this instance in recent times is where we saw gross violation of human rights. The continuing unrest has turned the spotlight on China's zero COVID policy as the world's second largest economy still continues with stringent COVID-19 preventive measures. Taiwanese electronics giant Foxconn had established the world's largest iPhone assembly facility in Zhengzhou in China, and this particular factory in China has seen a surge in COVID-19 cases since October. And some of the dramatic images showed workers trying to escape from this particular factory by climbing up the walls due to the harsh working conditions that prevailed there. We could also see images of the workers trying to escape from this lockdown, and they were trying to go back to their hometowns by walking through the highways. This was very similar to the migrant exodus that happened in India during the COVID-19. So what happened when large scales of workers were trying to leave the factory? What immediately they did was hiring yet another 1 lakh fresh workers. And there were reports in the media that these 1 lakh workers were forced to stay in dormitories along with COVID patients. So when the protests were progressing beyond an uncontrollable rate, what the Chinese government did was that they tried to crack down forcefully on the protesters. We could see hundreds of policemen in hazmat suit violently beating the workers. All that the workers demanded was their rights. Do you think this move by Chinese government can be ever justified? So how is this affecting Apple's iPhone deliveries, particularly at a point where the Apple is expecting a hike in their sales? Apple has already raised concerns that 14 shipments from this particular factory are likely to be affected ahead of the holiday season in US, where their sales is expected to be really high. Remember that Foxconn produces 70% of Apple's iPhones. Though Reuters has reported that this Taiwanese firm is likely to scale up its operations in India with respect to its iPhone production, it is still excessively reliant in the Zhengzhou plant. No matter how hard Apple and Foxconn try to justify their actions at the Zhengzhou plant, whatever has happened there is highly unfortunate. This is not expected from the world's largest consumer brand that had a slogan, "Think different." Yes, it's time to think different. Think differently in concerns related to their workers.